Gladiator is a familiar word to all of us. Many of us do not know who these gladiators were, and what their identity was. Many people think that the story of gladiators may be fictional. In today's episode, we will know who the gladiators were, and what their identities were. A gladiator was an armed combatant who entertained audiences in the Roman Republic and Roman Empire in violent confrontations with other gladiators, wild animals, and condemned criminals. Some gladiators were volunteers who risked their lives and their legal and social standing by appearing in the arena. Most were despised as slaves, schooled under harsh conditions, socially marginalized, and segregated even in death. Irrespective of their origin, gladiators offered spectators an example of Rome's martial ethics, and in fighting or dying well, they could inspire admiration and popular acclaim. They were celebrated in high and low art, and their value as entertainers was commemorated in precious and commonplace objects throughout the Roman world. The origin of gladiatorial combat is open to debate. There is evidence of it in funeral rites during the Punic Wars of the 3rd century BC, and thereafter it rapidly became an essential feature of politics and social life in the Roman world. Its popularity led to its use in ever more lavish and costly games. The gladiator games lasted for nearly 1,000 years, reaching their peak between the 1st century BC and the 2nd century AD. Christians disapproved of the games because they involved idolatrous pagan rituals, and the popularity of gladiatorial contests declined in the 5th century, leading to their disappearance. The earliest types of gladiator were named after Rome's enemies of that time: the Samnite, Thracian, and Gaul. The Samnite, heavily armed, elegantly helmed, and probably the most popular type, was renamed Secutor, and the Gaul renamed Murmillo, once these former enemies had been conquered then absorbed into Rome's empire. The trained gladiators were empire-wide and subjected to official supervision. Rome's military success produced a supply of soldier prisoners who were redistributed for use in state mines or amphitheaters, and for sale on the open market. For the poor and non-citizens, enrollment in a gladiator school offered a trade, regular food, housing of sorts, and a fighting chance at fame and fortune. Mark Antony chose a troop of gladiators to be his personal bodyguard. Gladiators customarily kept their prize money and any gifts they received, and these could be substantial. Lightly armed and armored fighters, such as the Retiarius, would tire less rapidly than their heavily armed opponents. Most bouts would have lasted 10 to 15 minutes or 20 minutes at most. In late Republican Munera, between 10 and 13 matches could have been fought on one day. This assumes one match at a time in the course of an afternoon. Spectators preferred to watch highly skilled, well-matched ordinary with complementary fighting styles. These were the most costly to train and to hire. A general melee of several, lower-skilled gladiators was far less costly, but also less popular. A match was won by the gladiator who overcame his opponent, or killed him outright. Victors received the palm branch and an award from the editor. An outstanding fighter might receive a laurel crown and money from an appreciative crowd, but for anyone originally condemned ad ludum the greatest reward was manumission, symbolized by the gift of a wooden training sword, or staff from the editor.